today's video, we're going to do a full review. So I'm going to give you the truth. I'm going to explain my likes, my dislikes, in no particular order. And I'll tell you about the clutch and what I like and don't like about it. God damn. Oh man. Alright, so I got the T56 Magnum F. That's the newer transmission from Grannis Racing. It shifts incredible. It truly does. However, you gotta be picky with what transmission fluid you go with. So I did the swap in the winter, in the dead of winter. It was cold as hell out up here in Virginia. And when this fluid is cold, it sucks to drive. It shifts horribly, it clunks, you can feel it, it feels like it wants to fight against you. However, after you drive it around the block, get on the highway real quick, and the fluid gets hot, it definitely changes. It's like complete butter afterwards. So now that it's nicer out, it's 65 degrees out today, beautiful Monday, and it's smooth. It feels super smooth. It feels like the automatic transmission fluid is way too thick, at least with this one. I went with some mobile ATF. It's a synthetic one. So I'm going to try out a couple different brands and see if it makes a difference. So this is a steel bell housing. So I know Grannis Racing just announced that he's going to be coming out with a aluminum bell housing. That being said, the steel bell housing, you can hear everything going on in the transmission. Now, honestly, at first, I absolutely hated it. I hated hearing everything in the transmission. But I got used to it, and now I actually love it. Now I actually pay attention to the clutch noise when it's completely engaging. If I let go of the clutch too quickly, it lets me know. I can hear it right away. So it makes my clutch feel and my left foot let off the clutch differently than I would in a regular car. Now, it's been mentioned before in other videos. I'm sure you've read reviews about it on the T56 Magnum F, or any T56 for that matter. There's a good amount of gear rollover. Now, you won't hear much unless you're in first gear or low RPM and you start to give it some gas. So whenever I get to a red light, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Hopefully the mic can pick it up. So right now I'm going down to about 2,000 RPM and you can hear it. That roll. I'm at 35 miles an hour, 2,000 RPM. Let me give it some gas and see if you can hear it again. To be completely honest, this transmission is the way to go. But you got to keep in mind, you may need to add some sound deadening. Once Grannis Racing releases the aluminum bell housing, I think it's going to be perfect for the street. I highly doubt you're even going to be able to hear the gear rollover from the input shaft. I highly doubt you're going to be able to hear anything. And even though the bell housing is going to be released in aluminum, I don't see myself selling this one just to get that aluminum one. Shifting this transmission feels incredible. I truly mean that. It feels insanely well. But when it's cold, it's a little bit clunky. It makes a little bit of sound. However, it's not notchy. So if you've ever driven a Z or the CD009 to be specific, that transmission is pretty notchy and it's super close ratio. Now, I know some guys like that. I don't really like that. I don't like when it's super notchy and you can barely feel which gear you're going into because it's so short. But this is distinctive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it gives a great feel to it. That gear rollover for these gears, I don't know if you guys can hear that. I can definitely hear that. Sounds like a small box of rocks rattling back and forth. When you push the clutch in, remember that's the input shaft. So as soon as you push in the clutch, it goes away. So watch. Input shaft has slowed down to 0. Now I'm going to engage it again. Box of rocks again. Now, it's really not a big deal to me. It's going to bother a lot of people, I guarantee it. people are going to want a quiet car, but if it's really that serious, I would suggest getting sound deadening instead of choosing a different transmission. It's not cheap, but it's still a lot cheaper than going with a full Getrag with a 220mm rear diff swap if you have a non-turbo or a auto TT car. You got to give it a little bit more force than you'd think. It is smooth and goes into gear smooth, but you want to give it a little bit more pressure than you might think. So I've considered putting a weighted shift knob on this thing. Not sure if I want to do that. You know, when I had my Evo, that really made a massive difference and I really enjoyed it. But for the most part, this is freaking perfect, and it feels great and it looks great. I love this stitching and the way it looks like a factory V160 from back in the 90s, all OEM. This car really does look OEM as hell from the interior, and I want to keep it that way. There we go. There goes that noise. As soon as you push on the clutch, it's gonna go away. And right back on. I still haven't gotten used to that 5th gear. So on this transmission, reverse is all the way to the right and up. So in my brain, I'm always trying to avoid that reverse. However, there is a lockout that's automatically engaged. It's a spring. And on the Bowler app, you're able to choose the mile per hour as to when the solenoid will disengage and pull back that spring to allow you to put it in reverse. Now for me, I set it at, I believe it was 1 mile an hour. So I pretty much got to be at a dead stop to put it into reverse. However, naturally, you know, in my brain, I still, when I'm putting it in 5th gear, I'm still careful. Now, obviously in a 1/4 mile, and once you start making big power, you're, you know, based off the rear diff that you choose, you're never going to be shifting into 5th gear aggressively, unless you're doing some street stuff. But still, it's going to take some getting used to. Again, I've only put 800 miles on this 6-speed, so that 5th gear still really feels unnatural for me. And 6th gear, it's nice having a 6th gear. Let's see, I'm at 2750 RPM at 80 miles an hour. Yeah, that's nice. This is a nice cruising gear. Now, in terms of clutch feel, so I'll be honest, I'm not used to this clutch being so light. I'm not used to that stock OEM clutch feel. I never liked it. I don't know about you guys, but I've always preferred a much stiffer, more aggressive clutch. It just feels so much more distinctive when I'm shifting through gears. It feels so much more aggressive. You know, I feel like I know the exact clutch engagement point so much better when it's a stiff pressure plate. Pretty good clutch, but the engagement, the feel, it's not really there for me. You know, it feels a little too soft. It feels like I have too much of a wide range where the clutch starts to engage. So it doesn't feel like an on and off switch to me, which I'm used to. You know, when I had my Evo or my SI, you know, I put some aggressive like stage 4 clutches on those, and it was an on and off switch. It was a heavy clutch feel, and I enjoyed that, and I got used to that. So I opted for this specifically based off of pricing, and just because I was gonna, you know, this car isn't gonna make over 600 wheel anytime soon. I mean, I'm being honest with myself. These cars aren't cheap. So I decided to opt for this, and I didn't realize how soft the clutch was going to feel. Now, for me, it's just not enough resistance. It doesn't feel distinctive when I'm engaging that clutch or when I'm releasing the clutch. It's not distinctive enough for me. So much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Make if you did this swap, drop a comment below. Let me know what your experience was with this transmission. Let me know what you guys think.